Welcome back to Vienna, to Pax Europiana from Vienna. We're discussing about peace in Europe, and we're discussing obviously at historic places. From time to time I show you very nice locations. There's also different locations. It's a very international and beautiful city, Vienna. And now I would like to talk about our imperial past, about the situation we did for Bosnia. It was definitely not the right decision to annex Bosnia in 1878, but you know, it was done at that time out of basically imperial ambitions, I would call it, and also a lack of alternative. It was not possible to really give it completely to Serbia. Division was not possible. It was a complicated situation. Austria invested heavily, in Bosnia, but never could really decide what to do with it. It was somehow torn between the Hungarian and the Austrian half, not a real kind of settlement, and to this day it is a contentious issue. And I would like now to say what really should happen now for Bosnia, with Bosnia, and it's very clear. It should be integrated in NATO, the European Union, and the tool to achieve that is the euro. As we have done it for Montenegro, as we have done it for Kosovo, it's now time also to Euroize Bosnia in this summer of 2021. And the long story, this 150 years of complication, has to be settled in the European context. It's so obvious. We start with the euro, then the NATO accession, and then obviously the European Union. In 2029, Bosnia can be in the European Union as a full member. And the long story, 150 years, complicated with wars, genocide, so many crises which have started in Bosnia, not forget Sarajevo and the assassination, and the struggle for Bosnia has to come to a conclusion. And the conclusion is Western integration. And ultimately we should not forget, with intervention in 1995 and also the decisions later, it was very clear that this will happen one day. And when now the French are surprised, I cannot help them. Yeah? They had 25 years to get accustomed to Bosnia, they had cared little, and now it's the situation when really we have this opportunity with Biden presidency to integrate Bosnia into NATO. And then the French would object to that and risk another crisis as in Macedonia, or we had so many now, or now in Georgia, or in Ukraine, or in Armenia. How many Russian kind of started crises we additionally need until the French will understand that only countries which are secured by the Americans, by NATO, by us all together, they are safe. How to achieve that? Obviously we have to get compliance also from the Bosnian Serbs. We don't need, all their compliance in a way. Not every Bosnian Serb has to agree with that. It's not that we have a basic democratic situation, everybody has to agree. No, the majority has to agree, and that's the fact already today. And now last week we had, or it was actually this week, we had anyhow already moving on in that direction, because also the Bosnian Serbs and the leadership, the nationalists of Dodik, they understand the sign of times. But we in Europe, we have to support the Americans. It cannot be that we claim to be the Euro sovereign and all this kind of grandstanding kind of rhetoric from Paris supported by Vienna, and all this kind of secondary politicians in Europe who somehow claim to fame is to block the Americans, and we don't do our part. I mean, the Americans have to insist. We don't need to do military things. But what we can do is the Europeans and the European